Everyone. That's just a thing you say some days. It's not necessarily reflective of the mood or my mood, but perhaps yours. I can't speak for you. Thank you for being here, though. Do appreciate you all coming. Those of you who've already hit the like button, it looks like about half of you. That's not bad. Do appreciate it. We've got a lot that we're going to be talking about. Obviously, on the show, there's a few things we need to get to. And we're going to be joined by Abelina Sabrina. Very exciting. Sabrina's going to be breaking down the news with us. We're going to be talking, obviously, about Supreme Court and all of that. There's a lot more. Hey, I'm Shark Dragon. How's it going? Good to see you here. And then there's a lot of other stuff in the news, too, including some feel-good stories. I mean, you know, it's difficult, and I can't say that they're deeply substantive things to make you feel good, but there's a little bit of schadenfreude having to do with Mike Lindell. So we've got that going for us. And hey, May Money and Billy. By the way, May Money, at some point, I think maybe over like DMs, I want to be able to type. I want to give you the feedback to your writing. In any event, for right now, we have more to talk about on the pre-show, including even more on the Supreme Court. Like I thought, you know, we're going to be doing probably about 40 minutes, and I thought that that would be everything. But there's a lot more, including some really horrible reactions to what's come out of the last day that I want to get to. So we will be going to that headline story in just a little bit, but along the way, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button so that people get the notification, know that we're live, that would be awesome. I do want to make sure, though, that we talk about some other things, including things that are going to be not only pushed out of the news today, but might not have been there in the first place. So one thing that we do, at the risk of coming off as a public health Buzz Killington, I do want to give you a bit of an update on COVID, something that we haven't talked a lot about on the show so far this week. But here are the numbers. In the last 2 weeks, the daily average case count is up to 61,000 cases. That is up 55% in 2 weeks. That's not great. I mean, if you look at this little bit of the chart, a case could be made that it looks kind of like this one or this one or this one. I mean, maybe it's just that one, or maybe it's just that one. But, you know, not necessarily moving in a great direction. Tests, average tests per day is actually down. That is weird. It had been going up for some time. Hospitalizations up 16%. In ICU up 4%. Deaths, daily average deaths over 2 weeks still dropping. 331 is about as low. I think that you'd probably have to go back to at least the middle of last year to get that low. So that is good. The issue, of course, is that if cases are up and if hospitalizations have started going up, I don't know, check back in a week or two for that. Hope everyone's feeling good. Hope nobody's personally experiencing COVID right now. Fingers crossed. Bridget Golden, welcome to Tier 2 membership. At Tier 2, by the way, you get access to the top 10 list that Francesca Fiorentini and I do. Just yesterday, we went through a fun list of 10 incredibly dumb politicians, and we brought receipts for each of our inclusions, and that was fun. So, more unrelated stuff. I partially want to talk about this so that I can remind you that we have primaries today. Remember, elections are still happening, primaries in Ohio and Indiana, and of course, we're going to be doing live coverage. Cenk Uygur, Francesca Fiorentini, and myself will be going live right after the Young Turks today. So we're going to be giving you the live play-by-play on the results. Maybe we'll have some great news. Maybe we'll be able to set off some fireworks. But the only way you're going to find out is if you tune in, or presumably get the news somewhere else. But I would prefer the former rather than the latter. Along the way, though, I do want to talk about a couple things related to one of the races, which is Nina Turner versus Shontel Brown. And so there's two little tidbits in the news about that. One is that AOC endorsed Nina Turner. I'm going to be completely honest. I thought that she had done that months ago. But she did it yesterday. That's good. She did it. Yeah, it was pretty close. Pretty close to the election. What do you think about that? I mean, look, obviously, I know I have this, I think, unfair reputation as being like, you know, a dauntless, never-ending defender of AOC, but I think we can critique some things. But it's pretty close to the election. A lot of people have already voted. I don't know, maybe it's Ohio. Maybe they're not allowed to anymore. But just bear that in mind. That's pretty close. Now, look, Nina Turner winning would be one of the most exciting, you know, possible things that could happen inside or outside of politics this year. And we are going to be watching like a hawk as results come in, and I'm very hopeful. Bear in mind, though, there was a lot of money put in on the other side. A good amount of money for her, too, but a lot of money put on the other side. It is very difficult, and especially to beat an incumbent at this point, so yeah. By the way, it also came out that the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which had endorsed her previously, Shontel Brown, I'm saying here, they had implied that it's totally cool for them to do that, even though the challenger is obviously far more progressive, because don't worry, it had been unanimous, which never made any sense. The idea that some of the people in the CPC would have chosen Shontel Brown never made any sense, and it turns out it wasn't true, which is why they weren't that specific. They sort of, you know, like were vaguely implying it. No, there were a good number of progressives who, of course, went for the more progressive. They're saying that Cori Bush was down as a no. So it's, look, there needs to be an actual caucus for progressives. Like, just because the CPC calls itself that doesn't mean that it is actually like the small but potentially growing bastion of actual leftists in the House. Anyway, okay, we got 6 minutes. Let's see, what can we fit in? Oh. Ugh, God, some of the news is so stupid. So stupid. Oh, ooh, so a little bit of bad news. But don't worry, I'm sure that today is a day in which you can freely absorb bad news because there's so little of it going around. So we had told you that after the first successful unionization of an Amazon warehouse in Staten Island, basically like right across the street, there was a second election. We'd given you the update, I think, last week on the vote on that. It has unfortunately not succeeded. Look, a lot of the employees did vote to unionize. It clearly wasn't enough. That does not mean that it can never happen. It doesn't mean that there won't be ongoing efforts at other warehouses or at other corporations. Those continue. Spare that in mind. The path is not going to be one of just endless victory. So bear that in mind. On Scrambleope says, hey, been watching you since TYT University. I missed that show, but the damage report is better. Thank you. It's been a long time since TYT University. I can't even conceive of, like, oh God, those were good times. Lisa Ferguson and Anna at one point. How fun was that? We had so many good guests on TYTU. And then Think Tank. You missed the whole thing. But anyway, you know what? We've got 5 minutes. I want to make sure that we get to our headline story. So thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to say 40% of you have hit the like button. The rest of you are dead to me. I can't be any clearer about how dead to me you are. But anyway, we are going to get to that story. And that is that we are getting gradually through the course of the day right-wing reactions to what the Supreme Court is doing. And when the right sends their responders, they're not sending their best. Lauren Boebert decided to tweet, if your response to the SCOTUS news is to dust off your stupid pink hat from 2016 and go march to support infanticide, reevaluate your entire life. She seems nice. By the way, it wasn't 2016. I mean, maybe there were some pink hats in 2016. Isn't that more of a 2017, 2018 thing? It was only a couple years ago, but she can't remember. By the way, I love that response, which is not, you know, there are some Republicans that are trying to cloak like how happy they are about their, you know, Christian fascism, like winning out by like, this is just reestablishing the right of individual states to rule on a complicated issue. No, she's like, your opinions are dumb and political speech is stupid. Why are you organizing? Like, no, that's you. Like, come on, Lauren. Don't you get that, like, your side is trying to pretend that they care about political speech and free speech, thus the whole Elon Musk thing, and that more speech is a good thing, openly mocking a massive social movement, by the way, that has the overwhelming majority of the population on its side, that's a weird thing. Like, you know that you have to, I don't even know what decade you'd have to go back to find a majority of the American public that believes that abortion should be completely outlawed. So she knows that she's on the losing side of that. Saying that those who, by the way, she's mocking the stupid pink hat protests, but like, you get that they were proven right? You get that, Lauren? Like, they were worried that a bunch of religious zealots were being put in the Supreme Court. That was proven yesterday, right? Anyway, she's not gonna get any of this. So that's Lauren Boebert. Marjorie Greene recorded a small video, which we will go to now. We got 3 minutes. I think we're doing okay. Let me whip you around.
I just want to make an announcement. because
She's tearing up.
this is the best news of our lifetime. The Supreme Court has voted to overturn abortion rights. There's a draft opinion out now to overturn Roe versus Wade, and this is a great victory.
This is a great victory. By the way, again, it's the inability to, in the moment, be consistent with the narrative that your party is trying to present. Overturning abortion rights is not how you're supposed to talk about that, because you're acknowledging that they're rights that people have had for literally decades. You're supposed to pretend that it's about life or about states' rights or some other bullshit. Anyway, that is an interesting video, though, because, look, you're going to have a lot of right-wingers that are saying things kind of like that, probably a little bit more nuanced, a little bit more intelligent or articulate. But what she's doing there is tearing up. And I think, no, I apologize if the volume is too low. That's literally as loud as I can make it go. But anyway, she is tearing up, and I think fairly legitimately. As I talked about in our top 10 dumbest politicians list yesterday, she is a true believer. Doesn't mean that she doesn't lie, obviously, from time to time. But I think, like, Ted Cruz doing a video about how this is the best news ever is going to be far more forced. She actually believes this. She thinks that there is no better news in her entire lifetime than women losing these rights that they've had since before they were born. And I believe her. I believe her. And the issue is that while the American people don't agree with her, they don't agree with Lauren Boebert, they're not in favor of any of this, the joke is very much on us. The joke, of course, being the sham democracy that we have, because they don't ever have to win on this issue to actually win on this issue. They don't have to persuade people. They don't even have to win the popular vote, like supporting presidential candidates on the Republican side that say that they're going to overturn this. They can't. It doesn't happen. But they've set things up in a way that they get to win on these issues. That for someone like her, she actually cares about. For the most part, most of them, they don't give a shit about this. This is a distraction. This is red meat to throw to their base, to distract them, so they can keep regulations on corporations low and keep their tax rate even lower. That's all that this is about. And if it results in some back alley abortions that result in women needlessly dying, if it results in someone having to travel 1,000 miles or to a different country, well, that's just, omelets, eggs, that whole thing. Anyway, I want to thank all of you who joined me for this pre-show. We've got way more to talk about on this and other issues when we go live with Abelina Sabrina in 1 hour. But along the way, the watch list is about to go live. Twitch.tv/TYT, YouTube.com/watchlistTYT. Tell the watch list, tell JR that the Dragon Squad sent you. I will see you soon for some more news.